Hey everyone, welcome back to the Film Flip Recap channel. Today, we're going to break down Sicairo Asterisk, a heart-pounding thriller directed by Denis Villeneuve and released in 2015. This film is a fascinating exploration of the morally gray world of the war on drugs. It's not just about good versus evil, it's about the fine line between law and chaos. In this recap, we'll go over the key moments, focusing on the intense action, character arcs, and the deeper questions the film poses without diving into any major spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, we've got you covered. Let's dive right in. The movie wastes no time pulling us into the story, opening with FBI agent Kate Macer, played by Emily Blunt, leading a raid on what's believed to be a cartel hideout. Now, from the first scene, you get the sense that this isn't going to be your typical crime drama. Kate's team is highly trained, but nothing can prepare them for what they find inside that house. The discovery of bodies hidden in the walls is disturbing and brutal, setting the tone for the kind of violence we're going to see throughout the film. This opening scene is important because it immediately shows us the stakes. The cartels aren't just involved in drug trafficking. They're operating on a level of brutality that most of the agents, including Kate, aren't accustomed to dealing with. Kate's reaction tells us a lot about her character. She's shocked, but she holds it together, staying focused on the job. She's tough, no doubt, but there's a vulnerability to her. This isn't someone hardened by years of exposure to violence. Instead, she's determined, idealistic, and still believes in the rule of law. Soon after, Kate catches the attention of higher-ups and is invited to join a special task force that's aiming to take down the men responsible for the violence. She's eager to make a difference, but she's also a little hesitant. This is where we meet Matt Graver, played by Josh Brolin. Matt is almost the opposite of Kate. He's relaxed, almost too relaxed, considering the mission they're about to undertake. He's dressed in flip-flops and has a kind of nonchalant attitude about the whole thing. But beneath that exterior, it's clear he's a man who knows exactly what he's doing. His laid-back vibe hides a sharp mind and a willingness to bend the rules to achieve his goals. This is one of the central themes of the movie. How far are you willing to go to achieve justice? For Matt, the answer is pretty clear. For Kate, though, this is just the beginning of her journey, and she's about to be pulled into a world where the lines between right and wrong are blurred beyond recognition. Before Kate even has time to fully grasp the scope of the mission, she's introduced to Alejandro, played by Benicio del Toro. Alejandro is quiet and reserved, and there's something about him that instantly raises questions. Who is this guy? Why is he part of this operation? He's clearly not just another agent. There's a coldness to him, but it's not the kind of detached professionalism you'd expect. It's personal. You can feel it in the way he moves and speaks. Or, more accurately, in how little he speaks. Alejandro keeps everything close to the chest. The first mission takes Kate and the team across the border into Mexico. Now, this is one of the standout sequences of the film. The convoy scene is a masterclass in building suspense. There's barely any dialogue, but the tension is palpable. As the team drives through the streets of Juarez, you can feel the weight of the danger surrounding them. Denis Villeneuve uses the landscape and the silence to create a sense of dread. You're waiting for something to happen, and it's this anticipation that keeps you on edge. Juarez is shown as a city under siege. The streets are filled with people, but there's a sense that the cartel controls everything. Law and order don't exist here, and that's made painfully clear when the convoy is ambushed on their way back to the U.S. border. The resulting shootout is brief, chaotic, and incredibly intense. What's fascinating here is how quickly the violence erupts and how efficiently the team handles it. For them, this is just another day in the field. But for Kate, it's a shocking reminder of how out of her depth she really is. By the time they make it back to the U.S., Kate is fully immersed in the mission, but she still doesn't understand what Matt and Alejandro's true goals are. She's in the dark, and that sense of unease only grows as the film progresses. After the mission, the team debriefs, and this is where we start to see Kate's frustration really come to the surface. She's used to being in control, or at least understanding the mission, but here, she feels like an outsider. Matt continues to sidestep her questions, offering vague reassurances, but no real answers. It's clear that she's part of something much bigger than a simple law enforcement operation, and it's starting to weigh on her. This is where the movie begins to explore the idea of morality in the war on drugs. Kate wants to believe that they're the good guys, that they're on the side of justice. But the more she sees, the more she realizes that the lines between right and wrong aren't as clear as she thought. Matt and Alejandro operate in a world of moral ambiguity, where the end justifies the means. For them, the mission is about results, not ethics. The next operation takes them to a desert location where they interrogate a cartel member. And this is where we really start to see the lengths Alejandro is willing to go. His methods are cold, calculated, and brutally effective. There's no hesitation, no doubt. He's focused on getting the information he needs, and if that means crossing moral lines, so be it. Kate, on the other hand, is visibly disturbed by what she sees. This is not the kind of justice she signed up for, and it forces her to question her own values. Are these extreme methods really necessary? How far is too far? At this point in the movie, we start to get hints about Alejandro's backstory. It's clear that he's not just here to help the task force. He has his own personal reasons for wanting to take down the cartel. He's a man driven by something far deeper than a sense of duty. His silence, his cold demeanor, it all points to a tragic past that's still haunting him. Kate begins to suspect that Alejandro is playing by a different set of rules. While she's focused on bringing criminals to justice, Alejandro is playing a much darker game. This sets up a strong contrast between Kate and Alejandro. Kate is still holding on to the belief that justice can be served within the bounds of the law, while Alejandro has long since abandoned that notion. For him, it's personal, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. This moral conflict between the two characters is one of the most compelling aspects of the film. As Kate learns more about Alejandro's past, she's forced to confront the reality that not everyone sees the world in black and white. As the team moves into their next mission, the pacing of the film picks up and the stakes get higher. This time, they're aiming for the cartel's top leadership. By now, Kate is feeling more isolated than ever. She's in over her head, not sure who to trust, and starting to realize that the task force's real objectives are far darker than she imagined. She's caught in a web of secrecy, and every step she takes only pulls her further into a world she doesn't fully understand. Alejandro's role also becomes clearer. He's not just a consultant or a contractor. He has a personal vendetta against the cartel, and it becomes obvious that he's willing to do whatever it takes to exact his revenge. His connection to the violence caused by the cartel runs deep, and we see just how far he's willing to go to get the justice he believes he deserves. Meanwhile, Matt continues to play his own game, keeping everyone in the dark about the full scope of the mission. The tension between Kate and Alejandro reaches its peak as they both grapple with their own moral boundaries. Kate wants to play by the rules, but Alejandro knows that in the world they're operating in, the rules no longer apply. He's been hardened by his experiences, and his actions reflect the ugly reality of the drug war. Sicairo is an intense, thought-provoking thriller that challenges the audience's perception of right and wrong. It's a slow burn, but the tension builds steadily, keeping you on the edge of your seat throughout. Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, and Benicio del Toro deliver incredible performances, and the direction by Denis Villeneuve is masterful. If you haven't seen it yet, it's definitely worth a watch. That's it for today's breakdown. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more movie breakdowns and recaps. Let me know in the comments what movie you'd like me to cover next. See you in the next one.